During the height of World War II, as the Nazi war machine tore across Europe, the Allies faced an impossible challenge. How could they protect their cities, their ports, and their industries from the relentless eyes of the German Luftwaffe? The answer, as bizarre as it sounds, came not from tanks or guns, but from paint, plywood, and a grand illusion. This is the story of the fake city that fooled Hitler. The deception so brilliant it convinced Nazi pilots they were bombing real targets, when in fact they were attacking ghosts. In 1940, as Britain prepared for the inevitable air assault, London, Glasgow, and many industrial centers were marked on Nazi maps as prime bombing targets. British intelligence realized that the war would be fought not only on land and sea, but in the skies, and that deception could be as powerful as any weapon. So, under top-secret orders, teams of engineers, artists, and even film set designers were summoned to an unprecedented project to build entire fake towns, fake factories, fake airports, and fake rivers of light to lure the Luftwaffe away. Their mission was to save the real cities from destruction by creating illusions so convincing that German pilots flying overhead would unleash their bombs on false targets. One of the most astonishing examples was a project known as Starfish Sites, named after special fire. It was a network of decoy towns and industrial complexes built in remote countryside locations. To the naked eye during the day, they were fields and scaffolds, but at night, they transformed into dazzling illusions. Engineers lit controlled fires using fuel-soaked rags and strategically placed lamps to mimic the glow of a city under bombardment. Oil drums were ignited in carefully arranged patterns that looked like burning streets. When German bombers approached London or Bristol, they would see these fiery cities and drop their payloads, thinking they were hitting the real thing. And incredibly, it worked. The man behind this masterstroke was Colonel John Turner, an engineer who understood both technology and human psychology. He realized that the key to deception lay not in perfection, but in believability. The Germans didn't need to see every building. They only needed to believe the pattern of lights, fires, and explosions below matched what a city under attack should look like. Turner and his teams would even simulate the progression of fires spreading across streets, using delayed ignition systems to give the illusion of bombs continuing to fall. These details made the fake cities look alive, chaotic, and real. Many Luftwaffe pilots reported heavy hits on British cities that, in truth, remained untouched. But Britain wasn't the only one mastering deception. Across the Atlantic, the United States would later adopt similar strategies to protect its war industries. Perhaps the most famous example was the fake city built over Boeing's aircraft factory in Seattle. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, fears of a Japanese air raid on the American mainland were at an all-time high. Boeing's plant was producing B-17 flying fortresses, aircraft vital to the Allied war effort. The U.S. military knew it couldn't risk losing it. So, with help from Hollywood set designers, they built an elaborate camouflage, a town complete with fake houses, streets, and even cars on top of the factory roof. Workers would climb up during breaks to mow fake lawns or move cardboard cars slightly to make the illusion appear alive from the air. From above, it looked like an ordinary suburban neighborhood. Beneath it, thousands of workers built the machines that would help win the war. This blending of art and warfare became a defining feature of the Allied deception program. Painters, architects, and filmmakers joined the fight not with rifles, but with imagination. Every detail mattered. Fake roads were painted with tar and sand to look authentic. Wooden aircraft were positioned in fields, while dummy runways were built to mislead enemy reconnaissance. Even sound engineers got involved, recording factory noises and playing them through speakers to make fake sites seem busy. It was an entire war fought in the shadows, a symphony of trickery designed to confuse, delay, and demoralize the enemy. What makes this story even more fascinating is how it connected to a larger network of deception operations. The fake cities were part of a psychological campaign that extended all the way to Operation Bodyguard, the grand plan to mislead the Germans about the D-Day invasion. The same principles that made fake fires believable were used later to create fake armies, fake landing craft, and fake radio chatter to convince Hitler that the Allied invasion would come at Calais rather than Normandy. The success of these deceptions saved countless lives and accelerated the end of the war. But returning to the fake cities themselves, their impact was enormous. Historians estimate that more than 40 major decoy sites were built across Britain. In some cases, they absorbed 90% of the bombs intended for nearby cities. Sheffield, one of the country's key steel producers, survived multiple raids largely because German pilots targeted its decoy. When the real city should have been flattened, the Starfish site nearby was left smoldering instead. It was an eerie success, hundreds of acres of fake flames protecting the lives of thousands. Yet these places were more than strategic tools. They were monuments to human creativity under fire. The people who maintained them risked their lives every night. German planes sometimes strafed the decoy sites, and the caretakers, known as fire watchers, had to remain on site to control the burning patterns. Many of them never received recognition. Their work was classified for decades, their contributions hidden beneath the secrecy of wartime intelligence. Only in recent years have their stories been declassified and brought to light. After the war, most of these fake cities were dismantled. Fields returned to farmland, and traces of the elaborate illusions faded away. But some remnants remain. Concrete control bunkers, old fire trenches, and rusted fuel lines buried beneath the grass. To walk through one today is to stand in a place where imagination literally saved lives. The ghosts of those fake cities still whisper of nights when Britain's survival depended not on steel, but on smoke and mirrors. The legacy of these deceptions lives on far beyond World War II. Modern militaries have inherited these tactics. The concept of decoy targets is now standard practice, from inflatable tanks and radar reflectors to cyber warfare disinformation campaigns. The core idea is timeless: to win by making the enemy see what you want them to see. It's the same principle that fooled Hitler's pilots 8 decades ago. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about the fake city that fooled Hitler is that it reveals a side of war we rarely think about. We often imagine war as brute force, guns, bombs, armies. But behind every victory lies a battle of perception. The artists, engineers, and dreamers who built illusions were just as essential as the soldiers on the front lines. They turned creativity into armor, art into strategy, and illusion into survival. In the end, the story of the fake city that fooled Hitler is more than a curious wartime anecdote. It's a testament to the power of deception and the human spirit's ability to adapt. It reminds us that wars are not always won by the strongest, but by the most ingenious. When the world was burning and the odds were impossible, people found hope not in destruction, but in creation, in building fake cities to protect real ones. The next time you see old footage of bombers over Europe, imagine what the pilots saw: a glowing city below, engulfed in fire, smoke rising to the heavens. They thought they were destroying Britain. In truth, they were bombing a masterpiece of imagination. And that illusion, born of fear and brilliance, may have been one of the greatest acts of deception in history. The night when creativity itself became a weapon, and the world's fate hung on a mirage that fooled Hitler himself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into hidden history.